I think step number one would be first understand what basis you're registered for GST. So that's what's the frequency? It's either going to be monthly, 2 monthly, or 6 monthly. And then once you understand what that cycle is, and importantly, the due dates that fall on the back of that, set yourself a calendar reminder. But don't set the calendar reminder on the due date, set it a week before, because we don't want to be filing late GST returns. That'll be step number one. Payments versus invoice basis, that determines when the GST is accounted for. By and large, most small and medium businesses in New Zealand are registered on the payments basis. It's completely okay. If you are on the invoice basis, shouldn't be a problem. Just leave it. If you're unsure, talk to your accountant. Next step would be calendar reminder flashes up. Yo, business owner, your GST return's due. You now need to dive into your zero. Dive into zero. Step number one, make sure all your bank account transactions are reconciled. So zero reports are only accurate and reflect the data that's been reconciled or processed. So if you've got unreconciled or unprocessed transactions in zero, they will not be reflected in any report that you run, P&L, balance sheet, and obviously the GST return. So you want to get that admin part tidied away first. If you're not sure on how something should be coded with respect to GST, contact your accountant and just say, hey, yo, I've done this transaction, need some help, Easy as. Should be able to give the answer, the click of the fingers, and send you on your way. Keep going. Next step would be, and this is sick that I can remember this without even needing to have a computer in front of me. You want to start the GST return. So on your dashboard on Xero, reports menu, and then the little thing will open up and it'll go, you'll go, oh no, it's accounting, then reports. And on some clients, they've saved GST return as a favorite and it'll be on that list. You can click that or just go to reports and it takes you to another screen, click GST return. You'll have your current GST return that's due as a draft at the top. And if you're a client of Next Advisory or you've consumed all of our content in the past, you'll be well familiar with this because you will be tracking your GST throughout the month and you would have been putting the cash aside already. So it's going to be no surprise what's owed. What we're doing now is just completing the process. You click on that GST return and it'll give you a summary page of what looks like a GST return, except it's not orange. Back in the bad, that would be cool if Xero actually did make it like a little bit of a flashback Friday, an orange screen. I digress a little bit with our logo. Sales at the top, purchases at the bottom, and the net amount of GST to pay. You have a quick look at that and you go, yep, that seems about right. As business owners, one thing we've learned is a business owner's intuition and gut is so reliable and accurate that we've sent out GST returns before and a business owner's come back and gone, no, guys, this isn't right. Something's missed. And you're like, well, tell us what's happened in the business to make you think that. And they go, oh, we've done this, done that, da-da-da-da-da. Oh, okay, so that means this transaction needs to be coded differently, da-da-da-da-da. Let us refix that up. Boom, changes the outcome of the GST. They're right. The way you can check that detail in your own business is across the top of the screen where it'll have a number of tabs. And I think the first one says GST return and the next one says audit trail. You click on that audit trail one and calm down, audit boy, calm down. Put the green pen away.
Love auditing.
Good old Audit New Zealand did well with you. They really did.
Certainly.
I'm surprised we haven't heard from them.
Hi, guys.
The audit trail page, and this is I suppose the hack for small business owners of the detail that you need to look into. You look at that page and that lists every single transaction that has occurred in the GST period. So let's just talk about a 2-monthly period because that is typical for most business owners. And let's say it's the April-May period. You'll have every transaction and it'll be grouped by GST type. So it'll be all of your income at the top. And then I think it's by date and then all of the purchases by date. And it'll be all jumbled up. What I like to do, and you might have some input into this, is those rows at the top of the page, you can sort and filter based on those. And I typically will click on the account or description one, so then it groups all of the account ones together. And that's really makes it easier when reviewing your expenses. And you can go through and go, oh, accounting fees, there's 2 there. Yep, I've paid 2 in the thing. If there's 3, you're like, how much is my accountant charging me? And then insurance, there should be 2. Rent, there should be 2. Repairs and maintenance, it'll group all those together. Oh, yep, that R&M looks all right. Motor vehicle expenses, groups all them together. Yep, they look right. You can look at your entertainment. Oh, yeah, is that coded correctly? You can go through your office expenses. Oh, actually, no, there's something there that should be entertainment. Let's move that up to entertainment. You've coded something to motor vehicle expenses, and it's the purchase of a new car. Need to recode that to the motor vehicle asset account. It's not going to change the outcome of the GST, but it's just tidying up the coding of the GST return. The next one would be, at the very bottom, the transactions with no GST on them. And the standout ones on there will be bank fees, no GST. Interest, no GST. Overseas expenses, no GST. They would be the main ones to keep an eye out for. Oh, the other big one, salary and wages.
Yes.
And drawings, no GST.
And loans.
And loans.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
That list got big pretty quick.
Yeah. Because every now and then we'll see, as you touched on before, you sort it by account, motor vehicle expenses, UDC. Whoa. You know, this a loan repayment potentially, or is it a lease? And we'll come to some of these things that you need to be mindful of. But Phil's right, you do need to have a look at what's in that no GST. And typically as well, one of the ones that we see all the time, Facebook expenses, advertising, coded to advertising. Oh, I heard that they charge GST now. Go and have a look at your invoice. Yeah. Tell me whether there's GST on it or not. Oh, geez, I didn't realise it's actually invoiced out of Ireland. However, you know, every now and then, maybe you do get invoiced by Facebook New Zealand. You have to have a look. Most people just take for granted that they can claim GST on all of the overseas expenses. From what we've seen at the time of recording this, a lot of those international companies don't actually invoice from a New Zealand company and aren't charging you a form of GST.
Spot on. Yep. Go back to the invoice. That is your source of truth. Next step would be, once you've done that check of the GST audit report, and by this stage you're probably thinking, Phil, this is a frickin' punishing process. It's actually quite simple. And much like what we've spoken about with cash flow forecasting, for example, once you've done it once or twice and you've set up a system and a routine, it becomes reasonably straightforward, and it can be done within 20 minutes, well, I reckon.
On that, you know, Jade, who works for us, she's not an accountant. And with an entity that I look after, I'll say to her, hey, that needs to be finalised. It needs to be pushed to the ID and the payment needs to be made. Bang, done. I'm out of the process. And nice. She gets it. She's not like, oh, it's really hard. Or where do I click? She's like, okay, it's done.
Smart.
So it can be done. It can be learned.
Once you're out of that GST audit report, you go back onto the GST return tab and you check your final GST numbers. It'll have GST to pay, and then you click finalise. Once it's finalised, Xero will then prompt you and say, do you want to file this now with the IRD? Click file now. It will then prompt you for your MyIR login details. Everyone should have a MyIR login these days. I can't think of anyone that doesn't. Chuck in those details, and then your information is, by the magic of technology, sucked out of Xero and pushed to IRD, and your GST return is filed. The next most important step, and I can't believe the amount of business owners that have thought this, but it's understandable that they could be, is that does not mean it's been paid. Xero doesn't take the money out of your bank account, pay IRD. They're not that smart yet. So the final step would be log into your internet banking and load the payment for the due date. Please don't forget that step. And make sure, just on IRD's part here, just to make their life easier, is use the right period references and tax type. So for GST, it's GST, pretty easy. And the period end, for the reference or the date, it's the period end date. So if it's the April-May GST period, you're going to want to put 3105 and then 25 for 2025 in the thing. And that will make sure that your payment gets allocated to the correct GST period.
You want to also, as part of Xero, when you push that data over, you've got to finalise it first. So that locks that period. Because basically, if you don't lock that period and you start making changes in that period, your GST return is going to be updating live in the background as if it hasn't been filed. So you want to make sure that it's been finalised, because then any changes in that period, once you've crystallised that period and pushed the data to the IRD, Xero is going to move any changes into your next or a future GST return to catch up on them.